All right. Think we're good to go. Let me get my PowerPoint up. All right, great. So thanks for joining me today. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes so that give people a chance to sign in because we're about 2 minutes early. So let me go back to the first slide if I can. Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm glad you all are here and we'll get started in a couple of minutes. So where are you all calling in from? Can you chat in the Q&A screen? Okay. One more minute. Okay, great. So it's 2 o'clock on the dot. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I appreciate you all being on time. And so anyway, today, my name is Myrna Arroyo. I'm with Pepper Inbound Marketing, and I also own a travel agency. So what I've ended up turning into my business is, in addition to running my travel agency, I've also been setting up, helping other travel agencies and other travel businesses, including some tour operators, set up really great marketing systems and sales systems so that they can have a healthy, sustainable, and enjoyable travel business. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And so today, you're going to really just discover that it's actually not that hard to build a six-figure travel business if you get these right systems in place. So so why you should hang around. I'm going to be really honest with what it actually takes to get results. It's not easy. And a lot of times it does take an investment of time and money to make this happen. And then I'm going to give you actionable tips and actual real information that you can implement right away to improve your travel business. So this isn't just like a sales pitch for a coaching program or anything like that. I'm actually going to try to give you some really good resources that you can use. So who is this for? So I put travel experts here because a lot of times I get approached by, brand new travel agents who have barely gotten started in business, and this kind of stuff, it's really designed for people who have already had some success. So if you're selling a good bit and you just need to get to the next level, then this is the right place. If you are selling but you're tired of the ups and downs because one month you have a ton of commissions and then another month you have very little, this is the right place. And of course, I really love to work with travel advisors that really love their clients and care about them, and they're really good at what they do. So, you have to have that confidence of knowing that you're providing a really excellent service. And you can't be afraid of a challenge because, some of the things that you have to do to grow are a bit scary. So the people who are not a good fit for this webinar are people who are just kind of, their travel business is sort of a hobby, a little part-time thing. You're not really willing to invest in your business or put in a lot of work and time. If you already think you know everything, you probably won't like this. If you're just looking for the next shiny thing to chase, that's not what I'm going to be telling you about, because what I'm telling you about is not quick or easy or shiny. It's really just real things that you have to do to grow your business. And if you've never had a client before and you're like literally brand new, you need to focus on the basics and really learn how to sell travel before you even think about doing the kind of things I'm going to talk about today. So, is this you? Are you frustrated, struggling? Do you have bad clients? You know, those people that, you know, you spent all this time giving them a quote and then they call you and say they found it for $50 cheaper on a website, and then expect you to match it. If you're in the situation where you feel like you can't charge fees because the clients just aren't willing to pay them. And if you're in the situation where you feel like you're working too hard and not getting enough return for your time, that was where I was in my travel business. So I was struggling with all of that too. I was making money. I had a good book of business, you know, when you looked at it over the course of a year, but I felt like I didn't have control. My income would be, you know, one month I'd be making, you know, $1,000 of commissions. And then the next month I'd have like 15,000. And, you know, it was just really hard to manage cash flow when your business is just so up and down. So it made me very stressed. I was working a ton of hours and really not really feeling like I was making enough money for my efforts. And then I also was in this situation where I felt I had to take any client that came along, even if deep down, you know, I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do. And bottom line, I was really undervaluing the value of my expertise and my services. So it just made me, all of those things just made me very frustrated. And to be honest, I felt like I was broke because I was always having to chase new business. I had no choice of who I got to work with. I had to work with whoever came. I was constantly, you know, stressed out, not building, and not making enough profits in my business because I was spending money on the wrong things and I was not having a consistent flow of business. So I started reading about, you know, marketing and sales and entrepreneurship, which I've always been interested in, to be honest. I've had several businesses, you know, before I even was in travel. I had a law practice. I've owned a wine shop. Like I've tried, you know, I've done a lot of businesses. So I know about how to make money. So in reading and researching and figuring out, like I looked around and I'm like, okay, let me look at the travel experts that are really doing well. Like, what are they doing? So what I realized when I started looking at these people is they charge fees, high fees, and work with just a small group of really high quality clients. They control their income or their time. They don't really have time to deal with those price shoppers and they just simply don't work with them. This makes them have less stress. They love their clients. They have systems that allow them to serve as many people as they want. And they understand that in order to get there, they had to invest in their skills, in their businesses, in training, in people to help them, all of that to try to build this amazing travel business. So basically, what I've kind of distilled it down to is sure, there's like a million things you could do to grow your business. But today I'm going to talk about the three like basic elemental things that I think are the three foundational systems that you really need. So the first element is your messaging. So I talk to a lot of travel agencies all the time and I review a lot of travel agent websites. And the one thing that I find often that they're not doing a great job at is conveying the value of the expertise they provide in a way that is going to attract their ideal client to them. And this is like the most important thing in all of your marketing. So if you haven't done the work to put together this compelling message, this little statement that you can tell people when you run into them at a networking meeting or the copy that you put on your website or on your Facebook posts, you need to make that compelling. And how do you make it compelling? So a compelling message is so in tune with what your market wants and needs that they just can't resist it. So it's something that when they hear it, they see themselves in it and they say, oh my God, that's who I want to work with. And they don't care so much about your planning fee or how much it's going to cost. All of that becomes secondary because they know that you get them and that you understand them. So messaging is not easy, but it is a really unique, a really important part of all of your marketing. It needs to be unique to you and your business. It's not something that any travel agent can really say. And it's got to be well crafted and designed to attract that perfect client that you want. So for example, if you want to specialize, you know, in river cruises, or you want to specialize in safaris, or you're really good at working with professionals, or you're really great at working with families, all of these elements kind of go into your messaging. And it's really the most important thing. It's at the base of anything else that we do in your marketing. Because what happens is if you don't have a compelling message, your marketing is going to fall flat. So you could spend tons of money on Facebook ads. You could put this everywhere, but people aren't going to respond. And so if you're in that situation where you've been advertising and posting and nothing is happening, it's probably because your message is not hitting home. Because when you don't have a message, your prospects aren't going to see the value of working with you. They don't know that you're the best. And then you're just going to end up with the price shoppers or the people that are just looking for the cheapest price because they don't distinguish you from anyone else. And then you end up working, too much for too little money, and you feel like you can't charge fees because you feel you'll lose even these little clients that you have. So in order to craft a compelling message, you have to do three things. First of all, you have to have your targeting on point. So you have to really figure out who you serve and try to limit it to one person. I mean, it's possible to have obviously multiple niches and multiple messages, but for now, just pick one. Who is that perfect prospect? Is it a professional woman with a high-powered job who doesn't have time to plan her family trips? Is it a mother? Is it a grandmother who her kids have gone away and everybody lives in a different part of the country and she's looking for a way to bring everybody together to connect on this family vacation, this multi-generational trip, but she's not sure how to put that together? Is it the adventurous couple who just got, it's their 5th anniversary and they want to do something big and they want to plan an African safari, but they've never been to Africa. They have no idea where to start. Pick your person, your perfect prospect, and then figure out what is the biggest thing that you can do for them that's going to solve their problem. You basically your message has to provide a clear path. So when they hear your message, they have to know that A, you get them, and B, you can help them get to where they want to go. So in order to do this, I have this handy tool called the before and after grid. And if you all want this, just send me an email after the webinar and I'm happy to email it to you. It is, so it's a simple little grid. And what you do is you take your perfect client that you want, and then you answer these questions about them before they work with you and after they work with you. And what that's going to do, it's going to give you amazing clarity into what you need to say to them to get them to see that you're the solution to their problem. So, before they work with you, they might have, 15 tabs open on their computer with travel research. They might feel overwhelmed. Their average day is super busy. Their status is, they just don't even know. They're like, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm going to go to these hotels and they're not going to know who I am. And, everything's going to be screwed up. And then after you look at their after state, and after you've planned this trip for them, now they have a beautiful itinerary with every detail handled. They feel secure, taken care of. Their average day is, yeah, I'm really busy, but now I don't have to worry about this because it's done. They can brag to their friends about, this great trip to Africa that they went on. So think about that. So that's basically the gist of it. And when I work with clients, we actually spend a good amount of time on this because as part of this, we really dig deep into who the customer avatar is so that we can really understand this person. It's helpful to talk to customers, read reviews, read things that your customers have written to you. And that's where we kind of figure out what all these things are. So anyway, it's a helpful tool. And if you want a copy, just let me know and I'll send it to you. So again, it's really 3 steps to create this message. And so first of all, you're going to dig deep into who your market is and nail down the biggest problem that you solve and the best outcome you can create. So whether it's, an amazing safari or a fantastic honeymoon, a multi-generational family trip that brings the family together, even though, everything is tearing them apart because everybody lives in different parts of the world. Whatever that is for your prospect, we have to nail it down. And then we come up with a statement, and the statement is going to be basically your positioning statement. And it'll be something like, I help busy professionals plan, amazing journeys to Africa so they can reconnect with their husband or wife or whatever. It'll be something like that. That's just a made up example. And then once you get that message, then we need to test it. So we put it on social media, we put it on your website pages, we put it in emails you send. You use it when you talk, when people ask you what you do at a cocktail party, you kind of throw it out there. And depending on what kind of response you get, then we decide, okay, is it working? Is it not working? Do we need to optimize it? And then as we go, we make it better and better. So again, the other thing to keep in mind, it's probably not going to be perfect the first round. It'll get better over time. So basically what having a clear message does, it lets your prospects know that you're the right fit, and it makes your time more valuable, and they'll appreciate you more because they'll have that connection with you because they feel like you get them. And it also gives you the freedom to really focus on the things that you're passionate about. I mean, if you got into travel, like when I got into travel, I really wanted to plan wine and culinary journeys. But, I ended up booking, Carnival cruises sometimes and whatever came my way. And by implementing something like this in your business, it gives you the freedom to reject the things that you don't want to do because you get getting plenty of the good stuff that you do want to do. Messaging is also something that, a lot of companies get wrong, even big companies. I mean, when you're trying to be a luxury travel advisor and, your website is full of cruise deals, that's not a good messaging, right? You don't want to post specials on Facebook. You don't want to post supplier content all the time. Like, you need to make sure that you are displaying your expertise and the fact that you're an advisor. You are not just an order taker that's going to book a cruise for them. You are going to help them select the right cruise. You're going to help them with all of their questions. You're going to help them plan all their arrangements before and after the cruise. So when you do that and you can communicate that to your clients effectively, they won't mind paying for your time, and they'll appreciate you, and they'll know that this is better than going to Expedia or Costco or wherever they want to go. So that's element number one, the messaging piece. So the second element is bookings on demand, or how to get all the leads you need to grow. So once you have your message straight, then we can start trying to get you leads. So if you're constantly talking to unqualified prospects, if you don't have enough prospects to talk about, if you always feel like you're chasing for new clients, you probably have a lead problem. So you need to get enough leads to grow your business at the rate that you want to grow. And everyone is different. Some people want 10 leads a month. Some people want 1,000. Your business may fall somewhere along this range. But the thing is, if you want to have a successful business, you need to have consistent lead flows. So that means that every month you have leads coming in no matter what. If you want 20 a month, you're going to get your 20 a month. If you want 30 a month, you can get your 30 a month, because until you have consistent lead flow, you can't control your business. So for me, I love waking up in the morning and knowing that I have appointments booked on my calendar of people that want to talk to me, whether it's about my marketing business or my travel business. So knowing that you're going to have, 5 appointments a week, or whatever that number is for you, that is what the goal of this that's what you need the system for. It's to get enough leads for your business. So consistent lead flow is basically the process that allows you to have that healthy, predictable, and sustainable growth, because you're getting all these new people coming to you each month. So when you don't have consistent lead flow, you can't grow because you just don't have enough prospects. And because you don't have enough prospects, you can't predict your income for the next 30, 60, or 90 days. And then the other downside is when you don't have enough leads, you end up having to work with everybody that comes along, even if they're really not a good fit. So then you have someone that wants to be a river cruise specialist working on a cheap all-inclusive weekend because that person called and they're a lead and it's money and I need to take it. And I'm not saying that you would necessarily turn that person down, but we definitely don't want to track more of those, right? We want to track more of the river cruises. So when you have this fixed and you have this working in your business, you're going to have control over your opportunity to close new clients every month. So you'll be able to bring in prospects. And if you set it up right, like I'm going to tell you a little bit later, then you'll even be pre-converting your prospects so that by the time they get to you, they're already kind of convinced that you're all that and they want to work with you. And by having lots of leads, the other great thing is you can be picky. You can say, you can look at them and go, well, this one's not so good. This person smells like a price shopper. I don't want to work with them. And you can just pick and choose the people that you want to work with. So that is really the best feeling, really, to be able to have that kind of control in your business. So there's several stages to get consistent lead flow. So when you first, so when you're out there, promoting your business, there's several stages that your clients go through. So first of all is the unaware stage. So they don't even know that you exist at this point. They're just out there browsing on the internet. So then you make them aware. And so the way you make them aware of you is through your ads, your Facebook posts, your social media, your blog content, your website, all of this content that you put out there in the digital world designed to build awareness. So this is your blogs, your social posts, your Instagram, your Facebook, all of that. The next step is to get them to engage with you. So now they've seen your content. Now maybe they like something, maybe they click on something, maybe they watch your video all the way through. So this is all considered the engage phase. So at this point, they know who you are. They're sort of interested in you. So then we have to get their email. We have to get them to subscribe. So this is where they raise their hand, they give us their email address, or they give us their phone number. And so at this point, to get them from engaged to subscribe, we usually have to make some sort of offer. So typically in the travel business, we offer like a checklist or a free guide or a sample itinerary, all these types of things. And someone will say, yeah, I'm interested in going to Japan. I want to see the itinerary, and they'll give you their email. And then finally, we convert them into an actual prospect by getting them to book a call, right? Because I recommend in the travel business that you always have a discovery call with every new client before you offer them any quotes whatsoever. So when they finally, they subscribe, they get your email, that you send them some emails, maybe you send them some texts, you continue that conversation until they're ready to actually say, okay, I'm ready to plan a trip. I want to talk to you. And at that point, they book that discovery call with you. And then after they book that call, you can tell them how you work, you can present your fees if you charge fees, and they actually become a client. So it's actually 5 stages, not 3. There's a typo in my PowerPoint, but I will fix that for next time. So these are the 5 stages that people go through. And the problem with some people when they go to market is they want to jump from unaware to client. So if you go to Facebook and you're like, book with me, it's like you're trying to get people all the way from the unaware point all the way to client in like one go. And, it's kind of like dating. So when you first meet someone, they're not just going to propose marriage on the first date, right? Or if they do, you're going to think there's something wrong with them. Well, it's the same way with your prospects. So what you have to do with your marketing activities is create content and assets and procedures and automations that are going to help you move people along these stages. And actually, they move along those stages at their rate, not ours. So sometimes we would like them to go faster to client, but some people will take their time. So now I have a lot of numbers. I'm sorry about this slide. It's just full of numbers, but I want to explain how this works with paid advertising. So say we want to get more leads, more clients. So how do we figure out how much to spend on advertising to get leads? And how do we even figure out what this is going to cost us, et cetera? So that's what this example is. So when you do paid advertising, you're basically taking people at that engage stage and trying to turn them into a subscriber, and then trying to turn them into a call. So your ad spend is going to be, they're going to see your ad, right? You're going to pay Facebook to show your ad to people. I'm going to use Facebook for this example. And then a bunch of those people are going to become leads. They're going to say, oh, I like what she has to say. I want to get the itinerary. And then a percentage of those people are going to actually schedule a call with you. And then a percentage of those people are actually going to become clients. So that's basically how it works. And then there's math that actually can predict, like if you spend X amount of money on advertising, this is how much revenue you should be able to generate. So I'll go through it more in detail. So for purposes of this example, I'm going to assume we're advertising on Facebook and that the cost per lead is $250 per lead. And that's pretty realistic. I mean, I've been able to do campaigns where the cost is about $150, and then I've done some where the cost is around $3 or $4 a lead. So that's going to be a good estimate. So let's assume you want 200 leads a month. So we say, okay, 200 leads will cost you $500. So you would have to have a $500 Facebook ads budget to do this. And then of those 200 leads, usually about 10% end up scheduling a call. If we follow up with them properly using our system that I'm going to recommend, about 10% will actually schedule a call. And of those calls, we can assume, I'm going to use the number 20%, which is made up, but just so you know, HubSpot has done studies and the average for the travel industry is actually 16%. But what I find in talking to really good travel advisors, they actually close way more than that. Some of them are closing like 30 or even 40% of their calls into clients. So I'm going to use 20% just to be conservative and to make the math easier. So that means if we use 20%, that means that $500 that we spent on ads yielded 4 new clients for that month. And if we take the average commission and fees that you make, this is your net commission. Say it's $1,000 a client because you're definitely selling in the luxury space, then you have $4,000 of revenue. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, are you willing to spend $500 on ad spend every month to get $4,000 of revenue? And that's something that you need to decide with your budget. But to me, it's a pretty good deal. But what if our goal is to make $10,000 a month? Well, we can do the same calculation, and we would actually need to spend about $1,250 on ads, and we would end up with 500 leads, 50 calls, and 10 new clients at $10,000 of commission. Now, I know travel is fraught with complications because, of course, when we book someone, we don't necessarily get paid up front. This is why fees are so great, because if you're doing advertising to grow your business, you get the fee revenue right away. So you can almost use the fees to offset all of your advertising costs. And that's really what I recommend for my clients, because the service fees collected immediately, you don't have to wait. It can help fund your marketing and it can improve your profitability. And it also, the side benefit of fees, it repels the price shoppers and time wasters, because if you have this person that's shopping around and you tell them you're going to charge them, $150, $200, whatever, they're just going to go away because they're not interested in paying that. They're interested in finding the cheapest price. So fees are great for many reasons. So how much should you charge? I get this question a lot. And it really depends on your expertise and how confident you are in your ability to do a really good job for them, depending on what the trip is. But keep in mind that when you charge a higher fee, customers tend to assume that you're better at what you do, whether there's any reality behind it. So you should charge as much as you're confident charging. If you can say, yeah, I want $500 to do an FIT with a straight face and with confidence, do it. If you've never charged fees before, you might want to start with a smaller amount because it's practice. It takes practice. It's just like anything. The first time I quoted a fee, I think I was freaking out because I thought, oh my God, there's no way they're going to pay this. But if you just start with something small, and then you find that a lot of people actually tell me, oh, is that all? And I'm like, damn, I should charge more. So yeah, definitely find what fits your confidence level and your expertise. If you are an expert in something like safaris or something like where it's really complicated and there's a ton of choices and you've been to like all these places yourself, I think that's a great way to handle that. So it looks like I have a little question here. Oh, somebody raised their hand. I can't see that. Okay. No, sorry. We'll continue. Okay, so the next thing is your lead flow. So when you control the number of leads you get, you control your revenue. So that's basically what we've been talking about with the Facebook ads and all of that is, okay, I want this much revenue. How many leads do I need? How much do I have to advertise? And okay, so how do you grow? You just turn the volume up and down as you want. If you're going out of town and you don't want to have, 25 calls that month, you turn your advertising off or you don't spend as much that month. If you want, if you see that your pipeline's a little low and you want more, hire a new team member, whatever, you just turn the volume up. So literally if you decide what your goal is, your revenue goal, we can back out and figure out how many leads you need, how many opportunities, how many clients, and then we can figure out exactly how much we need to invest in your Facebook ads. Now, granted, there is testing that goes on with this in the initial stages. So if we start advertising for a new client, we won't necessarily know exactly what the cost per lead is and all of that because we have to test things. There's always a testing period with Facebook ads, 2-3 weeks until we dial it in. But as soon as we dial it in and we're like happy with the lead cost, then we can try to scale it. So scaling, could be a matter of targeting different audiences or just increasing the money that we spend, maybe advertising Facebook and Google and YouTube and Instagram. So there's numerous ways to do this. So depending on your goal is how much investment in marketing you will need. And like I said, every business is unique. So not every travel business is going to be able to do the exact same strategy and get the same results. Your messaging needs to be right. Your target market needs to be right. How we do the ads needs to be right. What the offer is needs to be customized. All of this needs to be customized to what your specialty is, who your target client is, and what your business goal is. So just to recap, so consistent lead flow is what gives you the ability to scale so that prospects, once they come to you and they go through this marketing funnel, they're already going to know you, like you, respect you, and pretty much want to do business with you. It helps you get new clients when you need them, like turning on a faucet, and then you don't have to stress about where your next client is coming from. Sure, you can do your networking and all of that, but this gives you that you're going to have, so many leads to work with every month. So it's just a really powerful thing to have. So to recap, we've gone over messaging and we've gone over consistent lead flow. So those are the first two elements. So the next thing you really, really need is the booking acquisition system. And that is how we put it all together. So what happens to these leads when they come to you through Facebook? What emails do you send them? How do you communicate with them? So this is all what I call the automated booking acquisition system. So because when someone comes from Facebook, they're completely cold lead. You don't know who they are. They don't know who you are. We put them through a indoctrination sequence. So we actually, we send them emails and texts and try to communicate them to warm them up. Because what we want to do is, by the time they get on the phone with you, we want them to be ready to work with you. So, and the way the system works, it just gives you predictability because as we run the system, we'll start to get statistics. So we'll know that if we put 20 people in the system, in the prior example, I told you, 10% are going to book a call, but maybe for you it's higher or lower. We won't know that until we test it. So the point of all this is just getting the leads is not enough. We need to qualify them. So the automated system does a lot of the qualification for you because we don't want you on the phone with people that are clearly not qualified. I mean, if they want to go to the Galapagos and they want to spend $2,000, we know that that's not going to work, right? So why would you tie up your sales time, with that person? You send them a nice email, you send them on their way. You need to have an effective sales process so that you close more of these clients. So some people already have a great sales process and they do close a lot of their calls. Not everybody is in that position. I work with a lot of agents that need help in that area. And so of course we help with that as well. But the system is going to basically nurture your leads that aren't ready. So one of the realities of internet marketing is the vast majority of people that click on your ad and become a lead are not ready to book something today. Probably 5% are looking to book something today or the next week or so. The other 95% are just looking, they're thinking of doing it next year. Maybe they'll be ready in 6 months. And what you don't want to do, marketing is expensive. Getting these leads is expensive. So you don't want to lose that 95%. So part of what this system does is it nurtures all those leads that are not ready for yet. So when you have this kind of system, you need to send them email, you need to stay in touch, you need to communicate with them, show them, that you're an expert so that whenever they are ready, they're going to remember you and hopefully come back to you rather than starting over at the beginning. And the goal of your marketing system is really to maximize the value of each lead that comes into your system. So remember, oh, actually, there's a chart here. Exactly. Here we go. The customer value journey. So when a lead comes to you at the very beginning and they just become aware of you, and then they engage with you, and then they subscribe, and then they schedule the call, and then they book, and then maybe they book something else, or they, add something to their booking, and then they become an advocate, and finally they become a promoter. So our goal is to get as many of our leads to turn into promoters as possible. And so part of what we do with marketing is we need to make sure that we have systems at every phase of this process that are going to help maximize the return of your investment. So what are we doing in awareness? So awareness is where you're going to be doing, Facebook, social, blog, putting out content. I mean, that all lives in awareness. Advertising lives in awareness. We're trying to get people aware. There is overlap with engage. So engage is we're going to try to get them to start a conversation. So, what kinds of things are we going to do with our Facebook posts to get them to reach out? Like things, click on things, read things, watch videos. The more we can get people engaged, then we can make them the offer to subscribe. And so the offer to subscribe is, that's where we have the guide or the sample itinerary or whatever it is they want to download. Then they book a call with you, and now they're committing their time. So I consider that the first conversion. So now they've committed their time to you. And so what are you going to do in that call to excite them and get them to want to book something with you? So at each of these stages, we have systems. So once someone subscribes and we know their email, we know their phone number, we can definitely do a lot of proactive things to move them along the journey. Once they get to, if we're trying to get them to go from aware to engage, then we need to look at what our strategy is. What kind of things are we saying in our Facebook posts that are going to make them engage, that are going to make them subscribe? So that's basically how it works, is we literally go through every single phase and we come up with a plan for maximizing our return at each of those phases. And at the end, that's our marketing plan. That's our booking acquisition system. We're going to have systems in here. You need to have systems in here for every stage, like how to subscribe them, how to convert them, how you do the call, how you follow up, what you do when they book, what kind of emails you send them between booking and travel, what you do after they travel, how you stay in touch with them after that, how you ask for reviews, how you get reviews, how you ask for referrals. Like all of these systems are part of the booking acquisition system. Because without a good sales system and booking acquisition system, when you get on the sales call with people, you're going to be frustrated. They're not going to buy, and it's going to make your business up and down. And you're going to feel like you have to convince people to buy from you. If you do this the right way, you won't have to do that. Having a good sales process, really, the whole point of it is to turn you from someone that's trying to sell or convince someone to work with them to someone who is seen as an advisor and an advocate. And I don't know about you, but I would rather be an advisor and an advocate instead of a salesperson that wants their money. Even though, yes, I know I want their money, but I really want them to see me as someone that's trying to help and trying to lead them to the right decision. And I want them to trust me, because I don't want to have to convince people to buy from me. I mean, the most frustrating thing is, when you're on a call with someone and they want, they ask you for something and there's something better for them, but they don't trust you. They think you're just offering them that thing because it's more expensive and you'll make more money, but really you have their best interest at heart. So when you can turn your sales process around so you're more into a helper and a leader rather than a salesperson, it definitely helps you close more deals, and your customers will be happier and you'll be happier. And you have to keep in mind is that, as their advisor, your job is to help them choose what's best for them. And you have to remember that sometimes what's best for them is not what they originally asked for. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had clients ask for, a particular product. Let's just say, I don't know, a Viking river cruise or, whatever it is, a certain hotel. And, maybe I've been to that hotel and I've been to another hotel, or I've been on another river cruise line that I know is a better experience. And so I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say, look, I know you like Viking and I can book that for you. But, last year I went on Avalon and it was fantastic. And here's why. And are you sure you don't want to try that instead? I mean, if they're coming to you for advice, you need to give them advice. They're probably, if you act like an order taker, they're just going to treat you like an order taker. And that's when you get in trouble with the price shopping and all of that. You really have to be a trusted advisor and lead them to the best outcome for them. And, it doesn't always mean you'll make more money, but it definitely means you'll deliver a better experience. So when we build the booking acquisition process, we take that sales process and we try to automate as much as possible so that we're saving you time. So you're not having to talk to every single one of those 200 leads, right? Because that would be exhausting. Instead, we're going to use technology, email, text, whatever we can find, messenger, chat, to get a hold of these people, engage them, and pick out the very most qualified. And those are the ones that you're going to actually have conversations with. So they're going to move through a process that's going to help them go from a cold lead to a warm and hot prospect. And it has to go at their pace, which unfortunately we can't control when they're ready. It's like dating. You may think that you're ready to, I don't know, get engaged, and the other person might be like, no. So you need to kind of meet them where they are. So having a system that kind of does that in a very non-salesy way is really what you need to do. So to recap, I went over like 3 big things. And I tried to distill it down to like the 3 like elemental, most basic way I can explain it. So the messaging is huge. You have to have good messaging. Of course, you need to be able to get leads. And this is where a lot of times you really need to spend on advertising. And a lot of people are, I don't know, hesitant to do that, especially smaller travel agencies. But I have to say, like, if you look at the big people out in the market, like the Avoya Travels of the world, I mean, they spend like $100,000 a month just on Google AdWords. So it's no wonder they're getting tons of leads for their agency. And if you want to play and you want to have a chance of attracting new people that are outside of your network, you have to do that. And, not all agencies have to do that. Some people are blessed to have like a great network of wealthy people. And so they can kind of work off of their network and referrals and build the business that they want. But not everybody has that. Some people are just trying to grow beyond that. And if you want to grow beyond like your personal sphere of influence, advertising is really the best way to do it, to generate that kind of lead flow. But you don't want to just advertise and then the leads, there's no system for following up with the leads. And that's why you need some sort of booking acquisition system. So, you need a CRM, you need a way to follow up with your leads by phone, by messenger, by text, however you do it. You probably need some sort of software to keep this all organized. Because once you have that, then you can really focus on finding the places where maybe your system is not performing as well as it could and improving that. So, and this is all something, it is continuous improvement. Nobody is perfect. We launch it, we build it, we test it, and then we try to improve it. So I hope this was helpful. So, this is just in my experience, the 3 things you need to give you a clear path to build. And so now I just want to share a quick little story, and this is kind of a silly little PowerPoint, but you came to this webinar because I'm guessing that you want to grow your travel business. And so there's something that you want. And so, you're like this little guy right here on the top of the mountain. And what you want is this pot of gold over here at the end. And what I showed you today was like 3 big things you can do to get from A to B, right? To get across this impasse. So, because you really need bridges. But however, what happens to most entrepreneurs is that I just showed you 3 things, and there's probably like 50 things you could do to get from A to B. And what happens a lot to entrepreneurs, and it happens to me too, so I totally get it, is that we start doing something. Okay, we watch a webinar, we go to a conference, and someone talks about, I don't know, a really cool events campaign. And then you get very excited about it and you launch it and you start doing it, but you never finish it. Because a week later, you saw something on your Facebook feed about a webinar about, I don't know, social media tactics. And so then you get all hung up on that and you don't finish it. And then you go to, I don't know, another conference and another trainer is talking about something else. And you're like, oh my God, this is exactly what I need, more SEO. And so then you start this big SEO project, but you never finish anything because you're always like running to the next thing, like, the next shiny object syndrome. And it is shiny object syndrome. And a lot of us suffer from it in the business world, because I get it. It's fun to try the next new thing. And you hear these stories about how people, doubled their business in 5 days or whatever. And, you're tempted. So what I want you to take away from this is that, I showed you 3 things. And even if you picked, like, what I would love for you to do is just pick one thing to work on and finish it. And then pick a second thing to work on and finish it. And then pick a third thing to work on and finish it. And then you can get across the bridge and get what you want. So, so if you want help doing that, just kind of talking through your business and figuring out like where it is that you need the most assistance or the most leverage to really help you get to that next level, I'd love to schedule a call with you. So you can book a call with me. It's complimentary at myrnacall.com. And I do have, my calendar does fill up pretty quick. So just grab whatever time you can get. And I'd love to chat with you. And it looks like I have a question, maybe. Let's see. No, it says no question. Does anybody have any questions? We can type those in here. Okay, looks like no questions. So I'm going to go ahead and sign out. Feel free to email me if you have any questions or any follow-up. And if you want copies of the worksheets for the customer value journey and the before and after, just shoot me an email and I'll get those to you. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks. Thanks for listening.